with Paul Dehner, Mark Shalafoo, from listener questions to some running gags. Insider stories, ambush life, that dad life, and respect for flags. Kick off the weekend, alright? It's the Growler Friday Show. It's Who Dey Light.
All right, welcome into the latest edition of Who Dey Light. Paul Dehner Jr., Mark Shalafoo here with you, as always, kicking off your weekend, but it's a special Friday. It's the middle of the off season, and so we like to just kind of do, honestly, whatever the hell we want. Is kind of how this works. And that's why we're bringing in our good friend, Josh Sneed. Josh, what's up?
Hey, boys. How are you?
It's a special day.
It is a special day. Happy Friday.
It is a special day. It's a special day for us just to have you here. I mean, even if it was just you joining, I always look forward to it. It's a great time. I wore my special Ezra Charles Cincy shirt
I see that.
You.
It's a great one.
Ezra Charles Punch Out, which is I just got a compliment about it randomly in Chattanooga, sitting down at the Lookouts game. Someone just points out, "Hey, love that shirt." I'm like, CincyShirts.com. Go ahead, get one for yourself. Lots of good stuff there.
Promo codes. Did you give them a promo code when people approach you in public?
I said, "Oh, make sure you use Growler Pod
there
when
you
go to purchase it." Absolutely, get your discount. Okay, but it's not just any day to have you here. You have a new special out. Yeah,
I do.
Fat
Thank
Ryan is out. So congratulations to you on that. I was there for the taping. I already can tell everyone it was hysterical. Loved it. It was at Memorial Hall. Mark, you opened.
I did.
You're not on there though.
Hey, you know what? I got the crowd in just the right frame of mind for that special, and
you could tell how warm everyone was.
You always do. It was a like no hyperbole. Like it was one of the greatest nights of my life that night because the other specials I've done they were set up by Comedy Central or Dry Bar, and so everything was sort of laid out ahead of time of where the special was going to be, and everyone did all the heavy lifting. And then this was the first one that I've done that was kind of unknown. Like we were going to record it and then see who wants it. And, with that came selling tickets. I knew I would have an advantage in my hometown, but Memorial Hall, if you've never been in there, it's just like a incredible building, and it looks awesome. It sounds awesome. People turned out, we sold it out as 550 seats. And for me, not only did the special go well, but like going back and watching it, like every crowd shot, I see friends, friends, family, people I've known since I was in kindergarten. So it's just, I don't know, it's extra special because of where it was shot and who was there that night. So I'm glad both of you were a part of it.
That's a lot of pressure on the friends and family to make sure that they're laughing, because then you're just watching that in the editing room with your little notebook. Like, Steven, I know we go back a long way, but where were the laughs on that bit? You got cut out completely.
Yeah, with my daughter, you won't see my daughter because she's just playing Roblox the whole time.
Well, so we thought, in honor of this, how about you just come on the show? So we're going to do all our regular stuff, but it's just going to be better because you're here. And so I'm excited about all of it. And so for people that want to get the special though, give the details. It's with Disruptor Comedy. Give me the details on where people can go and get the special.
So right now you can only see it at disruptorcomedy.com. You'll see my ugly mug right there on the homepage. You click it. It's $6.95. I mean, who doesn't have $6.95? Remember back in the day when it was like for the price of a cup of coffee, and that was 25 cents back then. Well, now a cup of coffee is $6.95. So for the price of a cup of coffee, you can watch this special whenever you want for as long as you want at disruptorcomedy.com. And then over the next several weeks, it'll be available for purchase in iTunes and Amazon. And then further down the road, of course, you'll be able to watch it on YouTube, with ads and stuff. But why not just spend $6.95 right now, watch it, and then and enjoy it. Enjoy it with, as I said yesterday, someone you love or someone you hate, because you never know how comedy can mend burned bridges.
Yes. I love it. Make sure you check that out. I want to quickly, we have to, if you have $6.95, you know where else you could use it? You could use it on BetMGM. You just go gamble it away too.
Yeah.
Once you've gotten the special and you got yourself in a good mood, be like, you know what this makes me want to do? It makes me want to go gamble.
Yeah.
So
and then you take your winnings and you give that $6.95 to people you love or hate and ask them to go spend it at Disruptor Comedy. You really could use BetMGM to sort of parlay
Just finance it.
Really, really help get the word out there.
Yes.
I used my account to win on some women's soccer this week, so now I can gift this special to a few people thanks to my women's soccer friendlies winnings. So thank you, BetMGM.
I went. It was the school night at when the U.S. women's team played their friendly at TQL. Took my two daughters. And is it bad that I was like legitimately mad? I couldn't find the game. I was just like I couldn't find the game on to gamble on. I was like, should I care this much that I'm kind of ignoring my kids for this current minute while I try to find the odds on this Ireland friendly right now? And I was like, no, I don't feel bad about that. I'm trying to make this more interesting for myself. Okay?
Yeah. Are they going to get ice cream or not? That you got to pull that out. That's how you do it.
You can always tell the people who've got money on the line somewhere because it'll be just some random game and then it'll be like a double. And some guy's like, well, there goes my parlay. like they get mad or they're hanging on a game that doesn't matter. One run gives up. Oh. It's like, bro, it's the first inning. I know, but I had no runs in the first inning.
If you want to do all of this stuff, make sure you sign up for the BetMGM app. Use the bonus code Growler. You get a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager. You got to download the BetMGM app, sign up using the bonus code Growler, all caps there, deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive that same bet amount up to $1,500 in a bonus bet if your bet loses. So just make sure you use bonus code Growler when you sign up. Go get that $1,500 first bet offer today. All right, Josh, we do this thing every week where we just kind of pick our Bengals story of the week, which could be anything. It could be serious. It could be silly. So I'll open up to you of the week. What's your favorite Bengals thing right now? That whether it makes you laugh, makes you cry, makes you happy. Is there something right now that you enjoy about the Bengals sphere?
It's random. I'm trying to think outside of the box because I know you guys are prepared and have the insights to give like a really good answer. Mine's kind of a silly answer, but it's sincere. So yesterday I'm on Instagram and I'm going through, watching reels as one does, and I come across someone had asked the question, what is the dumbest thing you've ever seen happen in an NFL game? Right. And it was all these people's suggestions on dumb stuff that players have done during the game. And I watched 20 of them and not one of them was a Bengals player doing something stupid. And that made me feel proud because I remember not that long ago where you would watch like blooper reels. Like you remember like football follies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those old videos. And every clip was like the Bengals doing something like some other team making the Bengals look silly. And I was really proud that the only Bengals mention on this post that had all these views and all these suggestions was actually Juju Smith-Schuster when he did his TikTok dance on that game before. And then he got lit up during the game. And the Bengals won like 27-17. And I was proud that was the only Bengals reference in the dumbest things that NFL players have done.
Back in the 90s, that would have been a guarantee Gus Frerotte left-handed pass, like in the first minute. Like that play was a consistent drop into the football follies tapes for a while. But you're right, the 90s Bengals it was really, I think the football follies was sponsored by the 90s Bengals for a while. It was just kind of that's what they made it for.
It's hilarious. Yeah, I was pleasantly so I kept scrolling through it, waiting to see. And there were none, and I was happy about it. And there were some dumb ones. I mean, there were some really dumb ones. I mean,
I like that. Yeah. You know what? Because I've had sort of the opposite experience this week because I started watching Quarterback on Netflix, and I know Jay has been covering that extensively, but it feels like all there were, just at least the first few episodes that I saw, just constant lowlights. Tanner Hudson fumbling at the one again. And Tanner Hudson dropping a 2-point conversion, Evan McPherson missing a field goal. And then they cut to these other teams who are making clutch plays to win the end of games, close games. And it's like, dang, just reliving all that trauma. So I would love to see a top 20 dumbest plays and not have to relive anything traumatic during that.
That's one thing that quarterback did really well, was point out how heartbreaking the Bengals season truly was. Like, they really did a good job of setting up, oh, here's another game where the Bengals are kind of right there. They've got it under control. Just need this other guy to go do one thing.
Do his job.
Next week on quarterback. It was like it was a good job of setting up the failure and why Joe was so frustrated as the year went on.
I think that's why I have not started watching it yet, because I know I don't need the reminders. Like, all I have to do is think about any of those games, especially the ones that I was at, and just like the Super Bowl still haunts me. Like, if anyone just mentions the Super Bowl, like, I am taken back to looking at Jamar all open down at the end of the field by himself, but there wasn't even 3 seconds to throw him the ball. And it's just like instant pain. I'm not ready to revisit last season.
Well, good thing is you don't have to, but there's a lot of good stuff in there. I do like the one thing that struck me from that I didn't talk about when we talked pretty extensively about quarterback with Jay. So go back and listen to that episode if you want to hear the full kind of detailed discussion. But I didn't mention this in there. It's the Eagles players fighting over who's going to get Burrow's jersey. Have you seen this clip?
No.
It's literally Eagles players being like, one guy saying, hey, let me get that jersey. And you hear another guy be like, no, I want that jersey. And another one's like, I want that jersey. It sounds like, I mean, I've heard this. It sounds like the kids that are along the gate at training camp. Like, I want the gloves. No, I want the gloves. No, I want. And I was just like, I can't believe these were professionals who were in the moment of having to try to stop Joe Burrow fighting over who was going to get his jersey swap after the game. It was fascinating. I can't believe that even occurred.
An Eagles team that goes on to win the Super Bowl.
Win the Super Bowl and dominate in that game, by the way. Yeah, it was very weird.
You see clips of that, though. Like, sometimes those will float around social media about a guy asking a star for his jersey later in the game, like a promising rookie asking a star for his. But that did kind of strike me, too, in just how many guys wanted it. It makes me think, do you think there are teams that have that annoying low-level starter who's like the first guy to ask every opposing star for his jersey in every game? Like, there's Derek again, stealing just another jersey right from underneath us, like every time. He's got to just be first play of the game. Hey, can I get that jersey? You're like, dang it, Derek, what are you doing?
Yeah, the backup long snapper has like quite the eBay account.
Yeah, right.
I love it. It's giving me an idea. It's a story idea right there. Who's the jersey stealer? Like, who's the one that's most aggressive? I think I'd actually be really interested in that. And I feel like every team probably does have.
I would assume that there's just some sort of etiquette or like standard practice of you switch with the guy that you went up against, whether it's like one receiver versus one receiver or the one receiver versus the one DB or something like that. Like, that's who you swap with if you're going to swap.
College teammates will swap a lot too. You'll see that, but that's like a past friendship or connection. It's not always just like, oh, Dibs, can I get that jersey? I got a guy who can sell it for big margins.
One of my favorite internet things ever were the two guys in Vegas that switched their going out shirts in the casino afterwards. Have you've seen that one? They both were holding up their, one guy had like some kind of a satin leopard collared shirt, and the other guy had whatever his like tank top was, and they're standing in front of the casino at like 4 a.m. holding each other's up. The shirt swap. I appreciated that. I hope that spawned a trend that's happening across Vegas everywhere now.
Well, you should have swapped your Ezra Charles shirt with the guy in Chattanooga.
Yeah, we weren't as bonded in the game together after that moment. Like, that was kind of it for us, but I appreciated him.
I hope he was wearing a shirt. I feel like Chattanooga, it's always a 50-50.
Look, it was 50-50 because it was hot. I'm not gonna lie. It was extremely hot, and they're building a new stadium next year, which is great for the Lookouts people. But that's because the current one has like no coverage, And so you're out there baking in the middle of the Chattanooga summer. Don't totally recommend that part, but they had very large fans that made it a little bit tolerable. But there
You're
were
talking
people
about
with
the
shirts
people
off.
of Chattanooga.
Yeah. They're a good people. Okay. A good people.
I'm kidding.
Speaking of good people, we did make sure we give out a shout out to our guy, Eric Sztanyo. Who, he's our guy. And if you are looking to buy or sell a house, you need to know Eric Sztanyo and give him a call. You should be on his YouTube channel at Team Sztanyo, SZTANYO. He's got all kinds of great stuff up there about whether it's neighborhoods or schools or really anything you could want to know if you're looking to buy or sell here. He's Growl Pals. There's a line of Growl Pals now that have bought houses with Sztanyo. So it.
Is he selling the suspension bridge? Can you buy
That's
the
logo?
That's a logo. He's just Mr. Cincinnati. He has it all and knows it all. That's right. You should get the hat. It's a great hat. I got a sweatshirt.
It's a great hat.
It's a great hat. There's no doubt about that. If you want to join the Sztan-yo Clan-yo, you should. You can email directly info@teamsztanyo.com or just go to www.teamsztanyo.com.
I love wearing hats of bridges that are terrifying to drive across.
Also, I'm not sure if it's great that his company hat has no mention of his company on it at all. Like it's not anywhere on the hat. Just
That's how
the
you
brand
know
is
you
so
made
strong,
it,
you don't need it.
Yeah. It's like the Amazon arrow. You just know what it is.
You just know what it is. I wanted to ask you real quick. Of course, you're an owner of Cincy Shirts, and we have our shirts on now. I'm curious, where do you have any current favorites or anything that's in the works?
Yes.
that you're liking. I mean, people need some merch for the upcoming season.
That glorious one Mark's wearing is one of my favorites that we did right at the end last year. Once, actually, I think that we did that one once T and Jamar signed their deals, right?
Yeah.
We felt glorious. The one that's coming out today that is so stupid, Paul, but I think you'll love it. It's got a line drawing of a quarterback like shoveling the ball, and it just says Norwood lateral.
What? You have another Norwood lateral shirt?
It's a Norwood lateral as a football reference, as though it's a play of a quarterback. It is.
I mean,
so
me. I want an entire Norwood lateral line. I don't just want. I have one, and I feel like I've worn it so much. Like the novelties. Now you're adding a second one. This feels like you're just like we just need to make sure we sell one shirt. Paul will buy this.
If it's just for me, I don't care. I don't know. I was on the Norwood lateral the other day, and that's how our brains work these days, whether it's for stand-up comedy or t-shirt ideas, is like you're just always in the mode of like looking for the next thing. And I was on the Norwood lateral, and the word lateral just hit me funny. And I was like, man, it'd be such a Cincinnati shirt that the only Cincinnati people would get if you made it like a football reference to the Norwood lateral. And so that shirt is now available at Cincy Shirts.
See, here's my thought. I think there should be, maybe we should petition it next time we have an interview session with Zach Taylor or with Dan Pitcher to call a trick play the Norwood lateral.
I thought of that.
Yeah, like if they can successfully run a really fun trick play, admit it's called the Norwood lateral shirt. I mean, it's perfect. That's all. It's all it's missing, and I feel like it's an easy one. It's an easy one to put together. Run the Norwood lateral.
Yeah, and Mark put a great tagline on it. He said it's play 562 in the playbook, which just is even more Cincinnati that you would know that's stay around 562. It's so dumb and so funny to me, but I love that Zach Taylor does that kind of stuff because when you and I were on a podcast, I guess it's been a couple years now, and you were telling me about the play named after the comedian that bombed.
Yes,
in front of the Bengals.
Yeah,
I got to ask Zach Taylor about that, and he gave me a little more insight as to who it was and what had happened. But I told him that because of that story, even if asked, I don't think I could ever do a show for the team, because if it didn't go well, the thought that they would name a play after me bombing in front of them would like scar me for life as a fan.
The fake flea flicker that was run against the Raiders in Vegas, which was incredible. I saw it happen and I was like, where did this come from? And the origin story was incredible.
Amazing.
Even just in the actual play and then the name being named. I don't know. Are we allowed to say? Are we allowed to say?
I don't care if you say it, but yeah,
Rodman was the comedian's name, and who apparently came in and bombed it trying to do the show for the Bengals. That's a tough room.
That's a tough room.
It's a tough room.
Look, all due respect to the mailman, when I see that kind of humor is what those guys want, I know that I'm not what those guys want. So like he's very good at what he does, but it is not the same as me. And when I see that they're like, that dude that's my kind of comedy, I'm like, maybe I don't think I'm going to do a show for those guys, because I can't do what mailman does. Like he hits on a different level than I do, and it's made me genuinely scared to try to even get those guys to watch my stuff.
I like that Zach Taylor's not afraid to name plays after stuff like that, because you get a guy like Andy Reid, it's all food references every key play, and so like to have a Norwood lateral in the playbook, that would be dope.
Oh man,
I did see the clip. It was from our. We're friendly with the Kelsey podcast, and we were at one point we were at odds with them.
We were adversaries.
We had made up that beef, and but I did see a clip from them recently that they had a play that they were attempting to put in for Chris Jones. It was called Swinging D. And I was like, that's aggressive. Like,
not to do it more out of self-deprecation, but they just had Brad Pitt as their guest. So I'm sorry.
Hey, Brad Pitt's washed up. He's old.
That's right.
He doesn't have a brand new comedy special out now. What was he? What's he even promoting? Ocean's 14 or something?
Probably
sure it's not going to do well.
One movie. Yeah, I don't know. That's just a guess.
If you're into that kind of thing, let's shift to some of the questions the listeners and viewers have sent in. They have come through again. We did say a few weeks back, it's the off season. It's kind of in the middle of the whatever the heck you want time, and so you guys have followed through on that. There's a lot of weird stuff that you guys have been sending to us. We appreciate it. What's some of the good weird stuff that we've got right now?
Okay, we're going to kick it off with Justin. He says, "Hey guys, loving everything that the network has put together. He looks forward to each episode, and Who Dey Light is a great lead-in to my weekend. On top of all of that, Power Stacks has filled a need in my summer that I've always wanted but didn't know how to articulate. Wow. My question, in my head, the defense was so historically bad last year that with a reset, it'll at least be marginally better. So if this season is a disappointment, it has to be because of regression to the mean on offense. But I don't know where the offense gets worse either. Outside of injury, what would cause the offense to take a step back this year? What flavor of disappointment should I brace for?" And before you guys get into that question, he also does have a spotlight. So this is a bonus Growl Pal spotlight he wants to throw out. It is the Pelotonia on August 2nd in Columbus. It is the ride takes place in Columbus. 100% of the proceeds go to cancer research, one of the biggest yearly fundraisers in the country. And he's got a donation page for that too. So you can support him and, support the cause. All right, back Love to the negativity. Where is the
back to bracing for disappointment, which is what I appreciate. Which I appreciate. What do you got, Josh?
Well, when he says what type of flavor, I think that the answer to that question is vanilla, right? Because that's my only issue that I've had the last few years with the offense is I watch other teams run plays and I'm like, why can't we do stuff like that? So I think when you have all of these amazing weapons that are locked up and going to be here for a while, like go use them. Like how many times have we watched Bengals games and all of us could call what the next play was going to be? And it's always some, shovel pass or something out to the right. You're in the shotgun when you need half a yard. Like, let's go get after it, man. Let's do the stuff to other teams that they've been doing to us.
It's a good point. One thing I'm kind of interested in is the Ben Johnson effect. Like he kind of really galvanized his team doing trick plays in Detroit, and they had a lot of fun with that. And I thought it made them an exciting team, and his players loved finding out what it was going to be every week, and they came up with all kinds of crazy stuff that worked. It helps when it works, and you're throwing to offensive linemen at least once a game, and you're doing fake fumble stuff. But I'm curious how many coaches have gone into this offseason and said, let's do more of that, even if it's just to like keep morale and excitement up every week for the players, and saw the impact that way and want to lean further in that. I'm curious if that becomes a trend where we get every week is like there's 10 or 15 new trick plays that surface.
Well, I know that there's selective editing too with quarterback, but that was one of the things that stuck out as well, is how many Detroit highlights there were where there's just a guy wide open in the end zone. It's not even that great of a play. It just schemed up so well. Then all of the Bengals highlights, some great ones, obviously, but it's all like an immaculate throw by Joe Burrow and an incredible catch by Jamar Chase over two guys, or it's always something that is just really showcases how good those two people are, but the difficulty level on between those two plays was just astronomical. You know, they make it so hard. The margin for error is so small for that offense.
Yeah. And what you want about the Chiefs, but man, when they run some really fun plays, and you can tell they're having fun doing it. Like I love that, like, just pinch of silliness.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I'll say is it's fun to ask for those plays, but the next thing you know, it's Monday night in Jacksonville, and Tyler Boyd is throwing the ball across the field directly to another player, and he's going in for a touchdown. And everyone's like, would you ever run that play? Just let Joe Burrow do his thing. It was like, we were trying to have fun. It should have worked.
I know.
But I'm with you though. I think there should at least be a little more silliness and excitement to some of the stuff you're doing. But I get where you're like, look, we have Burrow and Chase and Higgins. We don't even need to do that stuff. We just let him drop back and just pick people apart. We can do it the easy way. But
as long as they keep him upright, and that should be the measure.
Yeah, that's pretty much
the bracing for disappointment. That's
right. It's the guard play.
It's the guard play. Yeah, that's what you're bracing for. You're bracing that the guards are as bad as they potentially could be. And it's just kind of, I'm not going to say 2021 all over again, but if the guards aren't great and Mims or Brown gets hurt, if that combo happens, your guards are like, you're barely getting by with the guards, which is very possible. And Mims or Brown gets hurt, which is possible. Guys get hurt. You're looking at 2021 type level because there's a lot of bets you're not sure of behind them. That's all.
Yeah. All right, let's pull out of this before we go too Houday dark.
Yeah, it started to get dark. I apologize.
This one's a fun one from Ray. He said he's wondering how you guys would fare in baseball's 999 challenge, where you're supposed to down a hot dog and beer for every inning of a game. He said that he could see Paul going one of two ways. Either he says, no way he even attempts something like that, and anybody who does should evaluate their life choices. I don't think you're that judgmental. Or he says somewhere in 5 to 6 hot dogs and beers before you would tap out. And then he also mentions he's been enjoying Power Stacks. Good plug for Power Stacks. If anyone's not listening, go listen to that. But he's torn between enjoying the references to Drake and Josh and other shows of my childhood, but then also realizing they're now beat reporters younger than me. Shout out to Charlie, who's throwing me off not long after I've gotten used to the pain of being older than all of the athletes.
This guy's basically saying I'm either going to be soft or judgmental. I hope I'm not coming across that way. I don't feel that way. I don't think that I agree. I couldn't do it, but I would be here to cheer on everybody else that's trying. I'm here to support. That's what I would be. I definitely know I couldn't do it.
Josh, do you think you could take 9 hot dogs in one baseball game?
I might be able to do 9 in an inning. But I don't drink, so it'd have to be Coke Zero or something. But if I could sub it out, I would attempt that. I think I could do that.
You know what I've seen? Some people do it as like a team effort. You know, maybe you could team up with somebody that handles the beers for you. You do hot dogs, and you know that could be one pathway to success. I don't know that I would even bother with this. Like, I love and respect the people that try it. It makes it for fun social media content. Or if you got a buddy that's doing it, it's fun to watch him lose his mind slowly during the game. That's just a fun subplot. But I don't see any way that you're not just puking, especially with the pitch clock now. Like, it's a lot faster than it used to be a few years ago. Like 9 beers, 9 hot dogs. That's a lot to get down in 2 hours.
Joey Chestnut did 70 in what, 5 minutes?
Do you want Joey Chestnut's life?
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Like, Mark, how often do you get told, hey, tell me a joke?
Oh, yeah,
Imagine
all the
Joey
time.
Chestnut. Hey, let me buy you a hot dog, buddy.
His neighbor comes over with just a stack of burgers. How many of these can you eat in the next 42 seconds? He's like, gosh, dang it, not again.
Can I sneak in a question for you, Josh, here real quick? What did Fat Ryan come from?
Fat Ryan is a reference to the YouTube comment section for pretty much my entire career, stating that I resemble a fat Ryan Gosling. And so I originally wanted to call the special Fat Ryan Gosling Separated at Girth, but that was shot down by the legal department. So that's why we settled on Fat Ryan. And I talk about it in the special, obviously, but yes, it's crazy. Like, it's wild how much that comment appears, no matter what platform, no matter how old or new the video is. It's a ton of fat Ryan Gosling, and in the credits of the special, we show images of comments from the internet of different ways people have described me as fat Ryan Gosling. Although one guy at a show recently, when I was talking about it on stage, did say, I hope you become famous enough that people refer to him as an emaciated Josh Sneed, which was kind of a compliment. But yeah, it's either that comment or the other one is it just says formerly Chucks. That's what the comment says. Formerly Chucks. And I saw it. I mean, there's hundreds of instances of it to the point where I finally had to look it up. And it's a reference to a Simpsons episode where they're out in the desert and they stumble upon this store, and it's called Sneed's Feed and Seed. And then underneath it is a sign that says formerly Chucks. It means it was called Chucks F&S. Same play on words. It's a terribly filthy joke that somehow got past the censors because you got to do a lot of math to put it together. But amongst Simpsons fans, it's one of the like legendary jokes from that show. So every time my name comes up somewhere, the comment section, you will see formerly Chucks.
We got to get a bunch of Growl Pals to hit up Ryan Gosling's social media people and just keep throwing those references that he looks like a skinny Josh Sneed, just to get that on their radar.
That'd be great.
What else do we got here?
All right, this next one is from Jackson. He said, this question might have been better suited for Who Dey Dark. Which Bengals-related 30 for 30 episode would you guys be most interested in seeing? Crossing the line. Aging veteran Reggie Williams crosses the picket line during the 1987 NFL player strike while rising star QB Boomer Esiason sits in front of a bus. A weekend in Miami. A detailed account of the 72 hours leading up to running backs coach Jim Anderson finding Stanley Wilson in a hotel bathtub while in a cocaine stupor on the eve of Super Bowl. The deal with the devil. In 1996, and multiple NFL teams have relocated cities in search of a new stadium. Riverfront Stadium is on its last legs while Hamilton County and the Brown family are at odds. The voters will head to the polls to decide the fate of a new stadium tax, and Hamilton County will eventually sign a stadium lease from hell. Or Sin City, the story of the 2006 Cincinnati Bengals, a redemption story gone horribly wrong with playoffs hopes ending on a botched extra point snap on Christmas Eve. The Bengals were a regular fixture in the news, featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated 3 times. The rehab of Carson Palmer was the first, the nastiest rivalry in the NFL. The Bengals crunched the Steelers. That was the second. And then Chad Johnson, trick or treat, is the NFL's bad boy, really Mr. Good Guy. That was the third. The 2006 Bengals would go on to accumulate more arrests at 9 than wins with 8, while the former first-round pick David Pollock suffered a career-ending neck injury. Which 30 for 30 would you guys like to watch most?
I'll say they're all. I mean, this is a Who Dey Dark question.
It really is.
These were some low moments.
Why don't you save it for Who Dey Dark and then let's come up with a positive 30 for 30 people would enjoy.
Look, we just give people what they want. I think, I mean, I'm interested probably because I don't know that I've ever really heard. I've heard people talk about it, but not like really go into detail. Is the weekend in Miami? Is Stanley Wilson. It's the most mind-blowing of all of these. Like the rest of it, I understand lease negotiation stuff. I understand a bunch of players that was an interesting season. I understand, the Reggie Williams and Boomer and the crossing the picket line. I mean, that's a really hard one. The Super Bowl is tomorrow, right? Like, right. And it's just what it takes for that to have happened, the shock in everyone's system, everything about that whole thing. Stanley Wilson's story is just is incredible in general, but focusing, I would watch that. I would be interested in that.
I would go with the Reggie Williams because I always feel like when it comes to documentaries, the one that I think sounds the most boring ends up being the best one, and it also would probably trigger the least amount of emotions in me because all the other ones are like you mentioned that Super Bowl and the tragedy with Stanley Wilson, but then I immediately start thinking about that Super Bowl. You run the opening kickoff back, you're set up to win the game, you blow it at the end. It's like heartbreak. All of them are heartbreak city for me. I'd probably watch Reggie Williams and Boomer Esiason as like the least amount of emotional damage it'll stir up.
You got to feel Boomer would carry that thing too pretty well. Like that thing would be he would make sure it was entertaining and pull no punches. I have an ambush light this week.
What do you got?
I was ambushed by this and surprised by this. This came over X over the course of my vacation, and I made sure to drop it into the notes here so I remembered to get to this. I was ambushed by Jerome, who sent me this. This is kind of a special shout out to our YouTube watchers. And it was this man. It was asking if I was moonlighting as a UFC fighter. And it was this man right here was and I was like, first of all, would love if that was my body. It's not.
I was just about to say he's the least ripped UFC fighter I've seen in a while.
Yeah, and still would have been a massive upgrade for me. But I was like, you know what? I don't know if I see it. And I'm like, okay, I guess maybe I see it. I appreciate looking, certainly in my dark glass. I don't have my glasses on. Yeah, all right. I'll give you that. I appreciate the thought. The troubling aspect of this was here's how the fight ended, and I think this looks more like me if I was a UFC fighter. back to sports writing I go. This man has been pummeled to death. And that was 100% what I would look like if I ever actually got into the UFC game. So I wanted to shout out Jerome for sending that to me and thinking of me while he watched this man fight off death.
For anybody who doesn't watch the show on YouTube, the guy's face looks like it was a piñata after probably a couple rounds. It does not look good. He got beat to hell. What's his name? Scene. Do you know the guy's name? Can we look him up?
I don't know the guy's name.
Whatever it is, it's followed by CPA.
Yeah. Tough seed for me, but appreciated the ambush on that one.
I have to tell you guys, I am it's very random that I get recognized. Like it's once a year that I'm out somewhere and somebody says something. I was taking my son to a doctor's appointment, and the doctor comes in and he's a young guy, He says, "Are you Josh Sneed, like Cincy Shirts guy?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, that's awesome. I love the Growler." That's what he says. That was his next sentence. He goes, "They talk about you on the Growler." And then it was 10 minutes of love for the Growler. Like him just talking about how much he loves you guys.
Wow. That's wild. Of all the things that you could have gotten pulled for, it's like, hey, yeah, they talk about you on the Growler.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on and making that story up for us. That made me feel
did
good.
Not. Dr. Brady. Dr. Brady, he's out there, and I promise he'll write. I bet you he writes in after he hears this.
The last time I got, I've gotten some Growler shout outs in the Ohio area at different sporting events and stuff, which is always nice. We love meeting the Growl Pals. But I had one from stand up. This was I think it was in Lexington, where I was walking. This was after a wake. So I was like all dressed up with family members walking around. We were leaving a bar in downtown Lexington or Louisville. And these two guys came running out of the bar and they were like, "Hey, you're Dick Smith's dad, right?" Because I had a joke about naming my daughter after the hospital, the street the hospital was on, Dick Smith Avenue. And so I'm just here all dressed up with family and they're like, "You're Dick Smith's dad, aren't you?" And like, it was such an embarrassing thing to have to explain to everybody I was with. But not the great time for that.
I'm sorry for your loss, but can we get a picture?
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Growl Pal Spotlight of the week.
Well, shouldn't we do a Growl Pal Spotlight with our guy who's here right now? I mean, it feels like the perfect time to point out that the Fieldhouse is like one of the great things that's happening right now. I'm excited. I'm so excited about this for you. We have talked about it on here before, so maybe the true loyalists already know what I'm talking about. But tell people about the Fieldhouse, Josh.
So there's a spot in Northern Kentucky. It was called Hits, and it was a batting cage, baseball, 20,000 square foot warehouse that had just kind of gotten run down. And me and some friends kind of thought there was some potential there to redo it. And so we rebranded it the Fieldhouse. We opened it in March, and it's awesome. It's like I said, 20,000 square feet. We have pitching machines with hit tracks, which is basically like a golf simulator, but for baseball. So you can get like all kinds of analytics on your swings or just have a home run derby at Great American Ballpark if you want. And then we have a giant turf area that has like a netting system where you can open and close the nets and cut off however much turf you want. We open the whole thing up and have wiffle ball and cornhole and dodgeball, or we can close them up and do, private hitting lessons, or, you can come down and rent some space, but full concession area with 4 beers on tap and a whole bunch of food and drink options. One of our partners is Bill Asiri from Donato's and Witt's Frozen Custard. So we've got a bunch of good food and drinks down there for the parents to enjoy, have your birthday party down there, whatever you want. It's a really cool spot. We're going to do some really cool stuff. We've already done stand-up. We just had our first card show last weekend. We'll be doing those like every other month, and an evening with Marty Brenneman's going to be announced here soon. But just a cool spot right in the middle of Northern Kentucky, and I'd love for people to just come check it out or look it up on thekyfieldhouse.com. That's our website, and also all of our social media is the KY Fieldhouse. But a lot of cool stuff going on down there.
A concession stand that has 4 beers on tap. That is amazing. I desperately wish that my daughter's gymnastics gym had that feature, because I've spent many hours there in the evening when she's practicing till 7, 8 o'clock. I would love to have some beers on tap at that concession stand, but we don't have that where we are.
Yeah. TVs with whatever games on, like it's a cool spot. And I think once people come check it out, they'll be back. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is about to start happening. We're going to do a haunted house all of October. We're turning the whole building into a really cool haunted house called the Field of Nightmares. So it'll be made up to look like a haunted cornfield in there. It's going to be
That's
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Make sure you guys go check out the Fieldhouse for anything you want to go do. I don't really like to get scared. I try to spend most of my life trying to avoid getting scared. Did you ever do Night of Fright back in the day? Like, I feel like, remember Night of Fright? It was like on Fields Erdel. It was like they back behind like the bad red roof back there.
Oh, but I feel like I'd love that.
Oh, it was super questionable. Those of a certain age would remember this, where you kind of came out of like the screams that were coming out of there were not because of what the people were doing. It was because of, I'm not so sure how safe any of this is. And you would just sit there, you'd be in this long line right outside of it, and people would come out and kind of look at you like, I don't think you should do this. I really have regrets. And it was crazy. But yeah, Night of Fright was a big thing back in the day. I think I'm still scarred from that when it comes to doing haunted house stuff.
I was in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program for a number of years, and this is when I was a younger person. But I'll never forget, I had my little brother. We were down at the Newport, and he wanted to go on the USS Nightmare. And it was, like noon or something. It was not even a good haunted house time. But I was such a coward. I was like, no, we're not doing that. That is too scary. I'm like, if you want to do it, you can do it by yourself. And so I just sent this 10-year-old onto the boat. And then like, it was about 3 minutes later, he came running out an emergency fire exit. And I was like, okay, well, that's that for that one. Not my proudest moment.
We kind of graduated from haunted houses and started trying to find like haunted places. So we went to like the sanatorium in Louisville where everybody that had tuberculosis went to die, and you could do these like crazy tours through there. It's like one of the most haunted places in the country. One night I spent the night at Bobby Mackey's with a local radio show. We slept in sleeping bags on the dance floor at Bobby Mackey's. Talk about unsafe. It had nothing to do with ghosts. Just probably not the best place to throw down a sleeping bag. Yeah, I used to do that stuff all the time, and then my wife watched Paranormal Activity, and then she was out on horror movies forever after that because of the baby monitor scene.
Yeah.
Event Horizon was I'm out on everything.
Really?
That is it for me. Like, no, that was a full walkout for me. I was just like, nope, not just this movie, for life. I'm done with this type of stuff.
It's hilarious
anymore. Mark, where are you at next? Can we plug some comedy
so
you got coming up?
Coming up. I'm still trying to settle the date for this one, but either July 21st or July 28th, I'll be doing the Nateland live show in Nashville at Zany's. And then August 2nd, I am headlining the Norwood Comedy Festival in Norwood. August 7th, I'll be in Louisville.
I know what shirt you need to be wearing there.
Exactly.
I sure do.
I will be wearing a Norwood Lateral shirt for sure on stage for that one.
That's amazing.
And then August 10th, I'll be in Indianapolis, and you can get all the rest of those dates at markshalafu.com. Oh, September, I'm doing Las Vegas, and the booker there, she gave me a bunch of different dates to let me pick who I worked with there. And I picked my guy, Josh Sneed, who is a big favorite of theirs at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club. He does it a few times a year. So I will be with him on this next one. What is that, September 22nd?
22nd through the 28th. 7 nights in Vegas, me and the Foo.
It's a great road trip for any Growl Pals that want to come out for a couple days in Vegas and come to a show. Highly recommend it.
That's perfect. This is September 22nd through the 28th. Is that what you said?
Yeah. At the MGM.
So go out there, get a weekend in Vegas, and then you can hit up Bengals Broncos Monday night football in Denver on your way back. Right. Yep. You don't want to do layover, and you don't want to do the red eye back. Just go to Denver, catch the Bengals Monday night game, and then make your way back after that. I think we've done something good here. We've helped.
Yeah, it's a huge trip.
We do Dad Life here every week. Oh, Josh, where are you? Are you touring anytime soon?
I'm gonna be at the MGM in Las Vegas, September 22nd through the
28th.
No, I've got a couple dates there. They'll be on my website. I'm finalizing some more that I want to release, like a big fall winter tour schedule, kind of as this special rolls out. So right now, just getting people to watch the special, and then in the next couple of weeks I'll have the tour dates. I know I'm in Cleveland in December and Lexington in September. I'm kind of all over the place, but it'll all be finalized and just joshsneed.com.
Make sure you check that out, and of course watch Fat Ryan. We do Dad Life here every week, where we kind of offer up a story from our dadding worlds, and see where it goes from there. Mark, what do you got for me?
Well, this weekend is big for me because I'm coming full circle. I got a lot of grief from Growl Pals last summer for accidentally trying to feed my kids to sharks. So that went a little sideways on me. This year, now that my daughter has become a full-blown shark conservation expert and, did the Newport Aquarium Club and stuff. So she won this like all expenses paid trip to Cape Cod to study sharks and shark conservation. So we're actually going on a shark tour in Cape Cod this weekend. So we're going to see sharks on purpose this time, not on accident. If we find a shark, that's by design. And we'll be on a tiny little research boat. So it'll just be 3 hours of me joking about needing a bigger boat and nobody understanding the reference. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Is there any chance this is actually an intervention for you?
Like, listen, stop putting your kid near sharks.
They were like, we've got to put something together to stop him feeding his kids to sharks. And
every chance he gets,
is the way.
He keeps taking them around the sharks. Yeah, this might be my last episode. Who knows? We might be doing a memorial episode next week for me. Yeah,
we'll know why. Mine is kind of connected a little bit to your shark story from last summer. We went on this vacation, and you've obviously taken a lot of heat for this, and I couldn't help, as this was happening in immediate aftermath, thinking of you. So the legend of my youngest daughter is pretty strong, and I've told a couple stories about her. Her toughness is ridiculous. I told a story about how she just had an option to either go someplace and get some cream put on a busted chin that she had that required 7 stitches, or take a shot. And she just says, give me the shot. Like, she's just that kind of a kid. Like, she's just notoriously tough through everything, fearless as can be. There's a good second child, fearless nature to her. We're in the Smoky Mountains, outside of Gatlinburg. And of course, bears are like all anyone talks about. Hey, there's bears, see the bears. And it was a fun thing for us during the week. We saw bears like 3 different times, and someone would yell bear. We were all of us like hanging out using the hot tub in the cabin, and the bear just walked by us on the side of the house. It's like, oh, that's so cute. There's a bear right there. That's great. And then we see one in the woods. Oh, yell bear. And we had talked to all the kids about what do you do when you see a bear and all this. Well, we are packing up to leave, and there was sort of about 8 steps from our front porch that went up to where the actual parking spot was on flat ground up top. And so I'd been going back and forth, and I'd heard stories like, make sure when you're packing up, that's the time you forget to lock your car. Bears are going to want to get in there or whatever. So going up with them, locking it, coming back down. Well, we're basically done packing, and we're in the cabin. And so we're hanging out in the cabin, and I actually thought the kids were in the cabin with us. They were just sitting on the front porch. And my youngest daughter, Rosie, decides that she wants to put her water bottle in the car. And so she leaves the porch. She goes up to put her water bottle into the car, and we're inside. And all of a sudden, my oldest daughter, who's on the porch, starts yelling, bear, bear, at the top of her lungs. And we come out thinking like, she saw a bear somewhere, like we're going to come out with our cameras and get one last picture of a bear on the trip. We open the door to find my youngest daughter face to face, literally, with a papa bear.
Whoa.
Not like a big bear. They are staring at each other. Okay. And my youngest daughter, because she is who she is, roars at this dude. Just goes, roar, like this at him, fearless. Whoa. Roared back at him, all big. And you see this like bear looking at this little girl who's in a little red dress going, that's interesting. And we, of course, are freaking out and running up there. I ran up there. My dad was behind me. I think we were going to go wrestle a bear. I'm not totally sure what our plan was. But she did. She looked at it. She roared. She slowly backed away, which is like perfectly what you're trained to do or supposed to do. And we eventually the bear was like, I don't know. I think I might be scared of the kid, and walked off to the side. I mean, she was no more than 5 feet from this thing, and they were just staring at each other right behind the car, and off they went. I'm still recovering. Like, my adrenaline starts pumping again just thinking about it, and I know that pretty much if she ever, that'll be shown. It'll be at the wedding. If she, whatever happens in her life, I will always go back to pretty much her spirit animal is herself, just roaring back at a bear that was 5 foot in front.
That's insane.
I feel like, did I feed her to the bears by not, closer eye on the fact that we were inside and they were out there?
Well, almost feeding my kids to sharks. That was sort of like my dad light version of your Miles Murphy prediction. So I took heat for that all year long. Now I feel like that mantle's been passed. Now it's on you feeding your kids to bears and letting them be face to face with that. That's intense. That kid is going to be a problem for you, though, in her teen years. If she can stare down a bear at this young age and growl it away, like, what is she going to be afraid of as a teenager? Nothing.
No,
the kid's going to get into some craziness for sure. She should.
She's already afraid of nothing. Yeah, she's already afraid of nothing.
I think we know where the growler came from.
Yeah,
that's Paul's youngest daughter.
Of my daughter going like this.
I can't follow that story, dude. Why wouldn't you let me go second knowing you had that one in the holster? Oh my gosh.
I'm sure you've got great dad stories in the holster.
I have a bunch of them in the special. I was trying to think of one real quick, but it's funny that you are the way that you talk about your second child versus like your first child, because I have the same dynamic here. My son, the older child, super sweet. Here, let me show you. This was a Father's Day present from Dean. Okay, it's probably going to glare in the camera, but it's a picture of us. He turned it into a baseball card.
Oh, nice.
And then he also gave me one of his cards from when he played in the Cooperstown tournament last year, and he wrote 1 of 1. And it was this very sweet moment that he shared with me. And he's just a sweet kid. And my wife and I talked that someday we're going to have to sit him down and tell him how the world really is, because he's got these rose-colored glasses and just assumes everybody's kind and will do the right thing. Now, my daughter, who's 9, this was her gift, and it just says, "Dad, you are my father." Which is a great Star Wars reference, but there's no like number 1 dad or best dad in the galaxy. Just confirmation that I am indeed.
Yep, you're the guy.
Dad. And she's the same way as your youngest. She's fearless, doesn't take all the things that I love, qualities about her that are going to serve her well as a woman in this world when she's older, make her impossible to parent right now. And we joke that much like our son, at some point, we're going to have to sit down and tell the world, hey, MJ's coming and you're going to have to deal with her because we've tried and it just does not work.
I like that for Father's Day, she basically gave you a participation trophy. That's all that is.
Yeah. Everybody else gets number 1 dad, best dad ever. Mine's like, you're my dad.
You are officially a dad. That's it. That's as far as she's willing to go. You're on the list.
I love it. Amazing.
But I have great stories about both of them in the special, about coaching Dean's Little League team and all the stuff MJ says and does. So if you're hungry for dad stories, that's where you can find mine until I can better prepare for one.
Great reminder. Everybody, make sure you go check out Fat Ryan and just follow all things Josh Sneed. You can find it on the internets or on the social medias, any number of different places, but make sure you're using
local children's doctors' offices. You never know where I'm gonna pop up.
You never know. And of course, use that Growler Pod promo code at Cincy Shirts. Go get your Norwood lateral shirt today. I'm okay with the secret being out. Get the new Norwood lateral shirt because you'll be second in line behind me. That's all I know. So, Josh, appreciate your time. Congrats on the special. It was awesome. I was pumped to have seen it, so I know how funny it is, and people are going to love it. Thanks for spending some time with us, and we will catch up with you down the line. Have a good one, everybody.
I love you guys. Thank you.
See you, man.